Here we go, and welcome to March 4th, Wednesday, 9:07 a.m. Jack Heath, J-Dog on the boards. We have some sun out there after some snow and a wintry mix last night. Started in the afternoon, a lot of slipping and sliding. Saw a couple of accidents this morning as well. People just either not paying attention or going too fast and sliding into the car ahead of them, or three-car accidents. I saw a bunch of them yesterday afternoon over in the seacoast and today coming across to the capital. We have a nice day today. It's going to be mild or up near 50 for a high, and then, believe it or not, more wintry mix the next few days. But next Wednesday, keep looking at this one. Next Wednesday, it's a PGA golf score, 65 for a high. Good morning, New Hampshire. Good morning, Maine. Good morning, New England. We have you covered and blanketed coverage in terms of AM and FMs and worldwide. Hey, Alexa. Hey, Google, play the Pulse of an H. And our poll question up on X this morning at the Pulse of an H. Andrew Walensky made some news yesterday saying he thinks New Hampshire needs $1 billion income tax, 3% income tax to pay for things more like education and property tax relief. What do you think? Does New Hampshire need a 3% or $1 billion income tax? Yes or no? I think you know where I stand, but what do you think? And J-Dog having results from yesterday's poll.
Should the partial government shutdown end now? Yes, 90.9%. No, 9.1%.
There you go. I think most people with common sense say end it. We're not paying TSA agents. We're not paying a lot of Homeland Security people who are being told to be on heightened alert with what's going on in the Middle East. Hey, let me just tell you, we've got a packed show for you this morning. Fun segment in the next hour. I'm going to introduce you to a friend of mine, someone I've known for years. Many of you have in Greater Manchester, Ben Gamache. He's quite a business expert, but he's also started a couple of years ago. Like myself, he's a watch guy, like wristwatch, watch guy, watch person. He started a Raleigh watch company in Manchester, New Hampshire, making some really nice luxury watches. I think it's pretty cool. We're going to hear about that. It's about time. It's about time. Get it? Also coming up, get an update from the Manchester VA and the Women's Health Center coming online. We'll hear on your home. By the way, home show's coming up in Manchester. We hear from some of our friends in the home building side. And also the latest on the Middle East. And let's go to that right now. John Decker, our White House correspondent, will be coming up bottom of this hour. But right now, you just heard from Fox the latest. One interesting sidebar, and I filled up this morning my truck. Already seeing the price of gas right here at home. I think it's shot up about 20 cents. It seems that gas is up about 20 cents in just 2 days. And that's probably going to go up before it goes down. As much as we talk about, and we have taken out a considerable amount of the teeth of the tiger of the Ayatollah and the regime in Tehran and Iran, and I guess the whoever's left, whatever they call the governing group or clerics or whatever they are, naming one of the Ayatollah's sons, a middle son, to be the next leader. So Pete Hegseth and the Secretary of War and the Pentagon saying, and the president, we've taken out the military, taken out the Navy, taken out the Ayatollah, taken out his people. But yet somehow Iran is still firing missiles, whether they're coordinating with Hezbollah and others. So there's still aftermath and still residue, if you will. We'll see where all this goes. It does feel like it's going to be days or weeks. Now, some Democrats who were briefed yesterday, not surprising. Senator Markey in Massachusetts, I saw his reaction, and Senator Elizabeth Warren. They get briefed, and then they go right in their social media. They get briefed, they go right in their social media. Oh, my goodness, I just got a confidential briefing. Let me tell you all about it. I just got a confidential briefing on the efforts and the military strikes in Iran. Let me tell you all about it. Okay. But Congress is going to want more say on this and where it goes, how long it goes. We'll hear from some of our experts this morning on that fine line between informing Congress, briefing Congress, War Powers Act. Is this going to be a sustained situation or temporary? And we'll have more on that as we get going. Also, Dan Crenshaw losing his primary bid, and also in Texas, interesting results on some of these primaries that we're hearing about. And we'll get more again from our experts this morning as we get going. J-Dog, one of our contributors is tied up at 9:20, but we're going to get an update in a few minutes from Dean Spiliotis again, Southern New Hampshire University, a regular political analyst and expert and all-star for us. He's a political science professor, but we're going to talk about this income tax proposal that was unveiled yesterday, Andrew Volinsky. And, you know, it's interesting. I've said this very clearly yesterday in some commentary, and we will get, and I'll reach out to have Andrew Volinsky on my show. I always love his passion. He's a very sharp, passionate proponent of what he believes. He's written books. He has a new book. We had him on, I think, the week he came out with his most recent book on public education. Yep. What's that, J-Dog?
We did. I remember.
Yeah, we did. Public education funding in New Hampshire. Of course, he's one of the original plaintiffs in that Claremont lawsuit on how much, and of course, Claremont's never really getting out of the woods on their local fiscal management for education. I'll leave it at that. But he proposed this income tax proposal, and I'm not going to go through the specifics right now, but it's just essentially I guess he is selling it as a 3% or $1 billion income tax that purportedly would raise money for education and property tax relief. And it's interesting, the reaction, that was yesterday at the State House. He unveiled that. And it's interesting because at a time when Cindy Warmington is really, and John Kuiper, now that Portsmouth Mayor Degwin McEachern's not going to run as a Democrat for governor, at a time where Democrats probably want to be focusing on Donald Trump or anything but, here you go. Now they can defend, even if they don't say they supported an income tax. According to Andrew Volinsky, it would fund education in New Hampshire and brought forward at the State House. Of course, I don't know what the guarantees are that it's going to lower your property taxes. As you heard me yesterday, I've not really ever seen in my lifetime, but I guess there's always a first, right? There's always a first. If you haven't seen enough, there's always a first. I've never seen a new tax lower another tax. I remember when Lowell Weicker, people forget who he even was, governor of Connecticut. I remember when Lowell Weicker, a lot of years ago, and I talked about it years later, told the people of Connecticut, we're just going to bring in a little income tax, like 3%. It's going to sunset because we're building these really, really big casinos. I think they're called Foxwoods and Mohegan Sun, and that's going to take care of our potholes and our schools. And I don't think Connecticut's ever seen a tax go away. Do you? And what do you hear about Connecticut? It's one of the most overtaxed overall states in the country. The roads suck. Have you ever driven through Connecticut on the way to Florida, or you go through Hartford? Oh, my goodness, what a mess. What a mess. I don't know who engineered that. Schools, there's never enough money for local education anywhere. Maine, Vermont, Mass, Rhode Island, Connecticut, never enough money. But that Weicker income tax, I don't think it ever went away. Do you? Plus, a lot of these states have sales taxes. Do you know Massachusetts has 2 income taxes? Do you know that? 2, not 1, 2. They call it the millionaire's tax, the income tax. And by the way, I love this. Governor Maura Healey in Mass is on the record. There's a ballot initiative to lower the state income tax for most hardworking people in Massachusetts by 1%. 1%, I think, from 5 to 4%. 1%. And she rails against that, saying it would be the end. It would be the end of local education as we know it. Maine, how about Maine? They're a doozy. Oh, my goodness, Governor Mills in Maine. They don't only have an income and a sales tax. They have all those other taxes they brought in the last session. Streaming media tax, 5%. Pension fund tax. Prescription medication, legal cannabis, cigarette. You want me to keep going? Fishing and hunting license shot through the roof. ATV registrations. Oh, yeah, they got all the taxes in Maine. And all I hear from my brother-in-laws and sister-in-laws is how high their property taxes are from Brunswick to Brewer. Brunswick to Brewer. How about Vermont? Oh, my goodness. They have a progressive income tax. It goes up to almost 9% if you make $250,000 a year or whatever it is. I don't think income taxes are progressive, but 9% is pretty high. And then, of course, you have Mayor Wu in Boston with all their 2 income taxes and state sales tax. We're going to raise property taxes in Boston 13%, Mayor Wu. Oh, my goodness. They can't even clear snow in Boston. Hey, but here's the point. The debate has been sparked. Andrew Volinsky is passionate. He's written books about it. He thinks this is the answer for public education funding in New Hampshire. He's made a life. He's a great attorney, by the way. I'm serious. A former executive counselor. He's a very respected attorney, Andrew. And if you're listening, call in, Andrew, 603-228-2080. But he's proposing this, and it's interesting. Some Democrats probably, this is the last thing they want to probably be talking about. The last thing they probably want to be answering questions about if you're running for governor or office in New Hampshire State Senate is defending an income tax. In knowing, by the way, New Hampshire's one of the lowest states in the country for overall. Yeah. Property taxes are too high here. They're too high everywhere. People are going to stop spending at a local level, especially when there's a tax cap. But New Hampshire has some of the lowest overall tax burden percentages in America, the United States of America. Some of the lowest, right up there with Alaska, Tennessee, Florida. And it's because we don't have an income or sales tax. But the debate has been sparked. We'll hear from some of our experts, latest on the Middle East. Hey, Alexa, Google, play the Pulse of an Age. Back in a moment.
The Morning Information Center on the Pulse of New Hampshire.
For you, never miss a moment. Good morning, New Hampshire, live from the Outdoor Pride Studios. Now back to Jack Heath on the Pulse of New Hampshire.
Wow, if you're kind of bummed out on the snow and the slush, next week, 3 days in a row, it's a hat trick in the mid 60s here, not Fort Lauderdale, here. All right, hey, we got double trouble or double experts, double political all-stars. Brad Card in Washington, some interesting national primaries Congress, as well as Dean Spiliotis, Southern New Hampshire University political science professor. A lot to talk about. Let's start with the national stuff. Good morning. I'm going to let both of you kind of say hi, and you know each other well from our podcast and segments, Brad and Dean. Let's start with some of these primary results in Texas and other places, and maybe Congress, and back our way into proposed income tax by a leading Democrat who's passionate about public education in New Hampshire. Good morning, Dean and Brad.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Hey there.
Well, Brad, you want to
Fire
start
away,
with?
Dean.
Well, no, Brad, you fire away on the results. Dan Crenshaw, who's been up here, former retired Navy SEAL. I like him, but he's out. And
That's a good guy.
Yep. Other stuff in Texas. What do you think on the primary stuff? And then Dean can react.
Well, this is shaping up perfect for the Democrats right now from the standpoint that they've got Paxton and Cornyn that are going to beat the daylights out of each other for the next 12 weeks. And Tallarico now, who won the primary, is going to be able to cruise and just bank money and let these two guys bloody each other. So that's a win for Democrats right there. And then hopefully, I hate to say it, President Trump should get into this race, and he ought to endorse Senator Cornyn and put an end to this primary right now. It would be a disaster if Paxton won, in my opinion. I'm not convinced he could beat Tallarico. I do believe that Cornyn would win in a matchup against Tallarico.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be really difficult for Paxton too, and it's a nightmare for SLF and for Majority Leader John Thune.
Dean.
Yeah, no, the Texas results were really, really fascinating. I mean, on the Republican side, I think Cornyn and Paxton were basically split at a little over 40% each, and then you had a third member of Congress who was in the teens. So, as Brad said, they're now going to go at it for the next couple of months until the runoff, and they've already spent, I think, over $100 million in money that could be going to other Republican races. And I think, as Brad mentioned, the big question is President Trump going to step in and endorse one of the candidates? He's getting a lot of pressure from Senate Republicans to endorse Cornyn. But he has a very close relationship with Paxton, who's been one of his biggest supporters, filed a number of lawsuits dealing with the 2020 election results, much more kind of a MAGA-centric type of candidate. So, but he's got a lot of personal baggage. So that's an interesting race. And then the Democratic side is equally interesting. Tallarico's kind of come out of nowhere for most people and really benefited from the whole kerfuffle around Stephen Colbert and whether or not he was allowed to be on the show. His YouTube interview with Tallarico got millions of views. And Tallarico also showed an ability to pull in independents and even some moderate Republicans, particularly in the western part of the state, which is more rural.
Interesting.
The expectation was that Jasmine Crockett would do well in her home turf around Dallas and also Houston. But I think if it ends up being Paxton against Tallarico, I think Tallarico has a shot. Democrats have been disappointed before. They thought Beto O'Rourke was going to be kind of their big savior, and that didn't happen.
I remember that. I remember that.
Cornyn, Jack.
I remember that name.
Did better in this primary than people thought he was going to. Most people thought he was going to come in second to Paxton because Wesley Hunt was also in the race, and that kind of split some of that vote. So Cornyn did better by beating Paxton in this primary. He didn't get to 50%, and that's why they have the runoff.
Let me have
better. So that does open the door, in my opinion, for Trump to support Paxton.
Okay.
Cornyn.
Let me just switch gears, Brad Card, Dean Spiliotis, to a mammoth subject that I'm going to condense to 10 seconds because the jury's still out. We have a lot of fluid nature, a lot of volatility in the Middle East and other areas. This is still very fresh for a very serious situation. While I applaud taking out the Ayatollah and all that we've done, I think the jury here at home is still out. And I think I'd base it on this. In 2 days, just in the last 2 days, price of gas, not surprising, has spiked 20 cents. You start feeling it when you were paying $2.80 a gallon, now $3.20 or whatever it is. And then we still have missiles being fired in other things, other countries. I think if this drags out, and I would define that as more than 7 or 10 days, if this drags out with uncertain results, I think this is going to be not necessarily good for us as a country and the president. I mean that sincerely. I think this has to be a swift, decisive, almost like Venezuela, but this is a much bigger operation. I know people are still watching. I know people are still assessing. I applaud the goals of this and the results. Don't get me wrong. But if this protracts out and we're talking about the uncertainty in the Middle East and we start seeing gas prices going up near $4 a gallon, I begin to wonder. What do you both think?
We're not even a week into this, Jack.
I know.
I hate to say it. You talk if the president said it's going to take 4 to 6 weeks, roughly. I think if he can stick to 4 to 6 weeks, that's great. I agree that he's going to have political problems. In the meantime, he's going to have War Power Act vote in Congress. I don't think these War Power Act votes are going to pass. I certainly wouldn't pass in the Senate. So I don't think they're going to pass. And what you'll end up seeing is if that type of push keeps coming, if there's vote after vote after vote and sentiment starts to slide, then the president could be in trouble. But it's awful early, and I think this is going to play out a good 4 to 6 weeks before I'm too worried about what's going to happen in the midterms on this.
What do you think, Dean?
Yeah, I mean, there are still a number of variables at play, as Brad was suggesting. Part of it will depend on how quickly the U.S. and Israel can degrade Iran's ability to use drones and ballistic missiles. Israel's already suggesting that the missile launchings are down significantly over a few days ago, so that would be helpful. The other big variable is who are we going to end up dealing with? There's some reporting now that Khamenei's son, I think, who they thought was killed in the attack, is alive and may take over after him, and he's another hardliner. So, is this going to end up being like Venezuela, which Trump has suggested might be an okay outcome, where we simply establish a relationship with a more, a weaker Iran, but basically the same regime. So there's that. And then the last thing are these kind of issues with the surrounding Gulf region and all of that kind of oil, all that sort of turmoil.
Yeah.
Well, they're also going to have to come to Congress and get a supplemental appropriation passed.
Sure.
Because they're spending money like crazy, and they're going to need more money to be able to get these weapons made.
Real quick, Dean, before I let you go, Brad, yesterday, Andrew Volinsky, I talked earlier about the show. He's been on a few times with his new book, but he's been passionate about public education for decades. Introduced a $1 billion income tax at the State House yesterday for public education, 3%. It already has people reacting. I say, Dean, tell me if I'm right or wrong, it's the last thing I think Democrats running for statewide office want to have to talk about or defend. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, no, you're right. In fact, you saw the Democratic leadership distance itself pretty quickly from this. And just for your listeners to know, this isn't a proposed piece of legislation. This was simply Volinsky suggesting that this might be a conversation about, and
to then propose as legislation. Yes.
Right. Yeah, I don't think it's going to go anywhere. But it's just indicative.
But it certainly raises the specter of this debate when people like me say if Democrats win the State House, they're going to be talking income tax, and I don't think I'm far off.
Yeah, I mean, it's property tax.
How's it work in Massachusetts and New York? There you go.
Connecticut, Brad, Maine. You tell me, Massachusetts. Yep. All right, both. Thank you very much. Thank you. We got it all in.
Thanks, guys.
Brad Card.
Thank you.
Dean Spilios. So we come back. Bob Jackman talking about your home right now. And next week, we do have warmer temps 3 days in a row in the 60s. Yes, that's true. Also, John Decker, our own White House correspondent, coming up next.
News
not legislation, but do you think New Hampshire should consider legislatively a 3% income tax, $1 billion income tax? Yes or no? Andrew Volinsky says yes. What do you say? Poll question up on X. John Decker, our own White House correspondent, joining us. Oil prices already in 2 days, John. Gas prices locally up 20 cents. I don't think we've seen the end of that.
No, we haven't. The president said that yesterday in the Oval Office, Jack. And as long as this conflict goes on, as long as oil tankers cannot get through the Strait of Hormuz, then you're going to see those gas prices continue to rise. It's not just in New Hampshire. It's all across the country. It's here in D.C., an average of 22% per gallon up since last week. So that's something that's going to be certainly painful every time we fill up our gas tank.
And John, it seems to me, we just talked about this with a couple of our local experts, the real challenge, I think, but it's a military situation. You can't always control every variable. You know, we've taken the teeth out of the tiger, naval ships, missiles, military command, Ayatollah's command, all this stuff, and they're still coordinating with Hezbollah firing missiles. My point is, it seems to me that this really has to be contained to a 4 to 6, a month type long window. And I imagine the president realizes that we don't need a protracted situation of war in the Middle East. I don't think Americans will dig that. I don't think Congress will dig it. So how do we work with Israel to say, look, we got to end this in the next few weeks?
Well, the way you work with Israel is you tell Israel, these are our objectives. And once those objectives have been reached, the war is ending. You dictate the terms to Israel. And, I think that to a certain extent, we're on the same page. I don't think the U.S. or Israel wants to see Iran capable of developing a nuclear weapon. Once you get to that point, the president believes it can be done within a few weeks. Then operations should cease. So we'll see indeed if they can keep to that timeline.
Thank you, John Decker. I agree.
Thank you, Jack.
Good goals, good results so far. We'll see. Thank you, John. Bob Jackman, LaValleys, LaValleys.com, our home builder update, by the way. They got some great shows they've been doing, LaValleys. We got the home builder show coming up in just, I guess in about 10 days. Bob Jackman, interesting time of year. You have your notes, run into what you want, but we're a lot going on today, but I noticed a lot of ice dams, a lot of icicles on the houses still. We still have some snow and then warmer temperatures next week. This change of seasons creates a lot of stuff going on for the home. Good morning, Bob.
Well, you're absolutely right. The icicles could become a real problem when it gets warm and you got a lot of snow on your roof. But I do want to mention that yesterday was our first contractor expo of 3. We were in Rochester. I want to thank the 125 or so attendees who braved the weather. I will say that as soon as one parking spot opened up at the Legion, it got filled up. And in talking to the vendors, which there were over 60 vendors there, they were having a lot of productive conversations and taking a lot of orders for tools and other products that were shown there. And I got to say, I've been off the retail counter for a few years now, and the stuff that's available now is 10 times more and better than what it was when I left. And we always tout ourselves as project solution providers. So whatever your project is, we've got solutions. And we're not going to try to sell you one solution. We're going to show you several different solutions, and you decide which one is best for your particular home or situation.
Do you have more of these coming up? Because these are very popular. People are eager and hungry for these types of shows you're doing.
Yep. From 3 o'clock to 7 o'clock this afternoon, Fireside Inn in West Lebanon, New Hampshire. And then tomorrow from 3 o'clock to 7 o'clock, the Rutland Community Center in Rutland, Vermont. And we invite all the builders, and we make it a point of inviting not only the builder, the principal of the company, but all of his employees.
Mm-hmm.
Because those are the guys that need the tools. Those are the guys that need the expertise to install these specialty products.
Oh, good stuff. Good stuff. What about I know the home builders, New Hampshire, Matt Mayberry and his team, mid-March. I think it's March 14th, downtown Manchester at the DoubleTree. What else is cooking?
Well, actually, Matt had a booth at our show yesterday, and he was telling me that he had had several productive conversations with getting builders to join. I've got to call it a team. The builders in the area, and when I say area, I mean New Hampshire, Vermont. They're a team of people, a team of teams. That's what we call ourselves, but it's the same thing. These are people that are building your homes, and they are professionals. And Matt wants to talk to them and get them in a professional organization. Did a great job talking to people yesterday afternoon. I will tell you, it was an interesting drive home. I live up by the Lake Sunapee area, and there's a lot of people on the road that think four-wheel drive gives them the opportunity to go as fast as they want.
Oh, Bob, I can't tell you. Between yesterday afternoon and this morning, I went by 8 different accidents. Some were 2 or 3 vehicles. No one seriously hurt, but a lot of property damage, a lot of mangled cars, and a lot of police and tow trucks just because they don't know how to slow down and look ahead.
Yeah. And, to jump right back into Project Solutions, everybody or most big building supply places will give you an opportunity for financing. And we do the same thing. And it's typically 12 months, same as cash. For the month of March, it's 18 months, same as cash. For the people that are looking at tax refunds and want to do home improvements for this spring, that could be a very good option. I will caution you, and so will anybody that works at LaValleys. We will tell you, play within the rules. Otherwise, you're going to pay way outside what you thought.
Good stuff. What about this time of year? What are people telling your associates in your locations across our region? Is it still the snow clearing stuff? Is it window stuff, door stuff, or are we not really to the outdoor decks yet?
Well, if you we get a lot of interest in the outdoor deck stuff, and that will be intensified. Typically, our West Lebanon show and our Rutland show today and tomorrow, there will be a tremendous interest, and there has been for the last 2 or 3 years. People know that snow is going to go away. When you look outside today, beautiful sunny day, you realize that this winter is short-lived.
Yeah.
I will say that people are interested in 2 things. One, they are looking at how they can make their homes better. And I had an extremely interesting conversation with a gentleman. He is 55 years old. He's a contractor. He has worked all his life. His knees, his hands, and his back feel it. And he asked me point blank when he found out my function with LaValleys, he said, "Are you guys hiring?"
Yeah.
And I sent him right over to we have a table there, and we have a brochure that we hand out called Join Our Team. And we get a significant amount of people who are exactly like that gentleman, tired of beating up their bodies. They've been through a real winter again, and they're saying, you know what? Not anymore. I want to stay in the field. I want to stay with what I know, but I want to do a different portion of it. So we are always looking for qualified people, for good people. If there's a thing out that's the 10 things you can do that don't cost you anything.
Yeah.
One of them is to show up on time. It's 9 more of those. And I got to tell you, if you got those kind of values, come and see us.
Yeah, attitude is so much. Thank you. And a lot of people, we had our friends on AARP New Hampshire Friday talking about the workers over 50 and what a great resource. Thank you, Bob, and take care of those icicles on the your ice dams. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
We come back to Women's Health Update. Manchester, VA. Julie Vos on deck next.
107. Live from the Outdoor Pride Studios. Now, back to Jack on the Pulse of New Hampshire.
Always a good update. Women's health coming online in a big way at the Manchester VA. And you may not be aware of this, but getting veterans to even renew or go in and update themselves and see what services are available on the health front at the VA is a challenge because veterans aren't the best at wanting and saying they need the support. But the women's percentage of veterans, women who are leaving the armed services, is rising. And we're going to get an update, J-Dog, I think, with let me know when
950.
Okay, when our acting director, Julie Vos, is on with us. And it's an important thing. I want to get out the message to all families out there. But if you're a woman who has served, please go in and just talk with the folks at the Manchester VA. In the next hour, we got some regular contributors. A fun story, a couple stories. In the 11 o'clock hour, we're going to hear from the author of the novel Glitter, but it ties in with what's going on today. It's an interesting story about global stuff, intelligence, wars, and a lot of other stuff that you may not want to talk about, but it's interesting to read these books. Sometimes the nonfiction is not that far away from fiction, but it's a thriller about control, survival, and the terrifying power of unchecked technology. Glitter. Vladimir, we'll tell you his last name in a moment. I'm going to have to look at that one. It's a great name, long last name. Junkanovich, Vladimir. All right. So that's coming up. The book is Glitter in it's a cataclysmic novel. So we'll have what's going on. Technology. Speaking of technology, wow, all that AI stuff, huh? It is here. It's not going anywhere as much as people. I've been reading about these companies that are just laying off a lot of workers, sales types companies, just because of AI coming in. And these aren't small layoffs. That's another story that no one's talking about. The number of companies that have laid off, high-tech companies laid off tens of thousands of people just in the last 6 to 12 months. And it's almost like technology is outdating these workers. So keep an eye on that. That's why I go back to the trades. The trades are where you want to look at. Our great sponsors, New Hampshire Technical Institute. We're going to hear from the home builders tomorrow. Their show's coming up in March. We just had Bob Jackman on the trades. Get a job in the trades. You won't worry about getting a pink slip if you want to show up and work. All right. I just was talking about the women's health updates on health and how many more veterans. Julie Vos, the acting director, medical director of the VA. Julie's joining us with her key player in this, but more veterans, more women are leaving the armed services, leaving and now becoming veterans, and they need to check out the latest. So, Julie, thank you for being with us. Good morning, New Hampshire, from the Manchester VA. I'm going to let you run with this.
Good morning, Jack. Thanks for having us. I am here with our Women Veterans Program Coordinator, Ms. Laura Case. She has been here with us at this VA for many years and takes the lead on all women's health care here. So this month is Women's Veterans Health Month, as well as National Endometriosis Awareness Month. So we're happy to be able to talk to your listeners for a few minutes. I'm going to turn it over to Laura. She's got a few updates in support of our women veterans.
Hi, Jack. Thank you so much for having me. I am excited to be here and share some information. So with it being Endometriosis Awareness Month, we really want our women veterans to know that we are here for them at the VA. And so if they are having concerns, whether it be they're having, prolonged bleeding, cramping, chronic pain associated with their menstrual cycle that is not better covered by taking pain medications, that we really want them to know this is not normal and to reach out to their primary care provider. We're also very fortunate to now have self-scheduling for our gynecologist. And our gynecologist is amazing. And so veterans are able to contact the clinic directly at 603-624-4366, extension 201-321, and they can self-schedule to see the gynecologist. That also is really important because oftentimes our veterans experience infertility as well. And so we really want them to be able to come in, ask questions, and get seen as soon as possible so we can help guide their journey and get them on the right path. to getting answers and to getting the care that they need. Along with that, in March is our Women's History Month. And so we, as Julie mentioned, want to honor our women, celebrate their achievements and contributions throughout history. Our women's military has grown exponentially. It's something that we are excited that women are now able to serve in all roles across all branches. And so that's just something, again, that we're excited about. We definitely, when we see our female veterans coming back to us here at the VA, we want to be there for them and be able to help care for them. With that, we do have some exciting upcoming events. We have our Women Veteran Town Hall that's going to be on the 24th of March. That's at 5:30 p.m. Veterans do not need to do anything. They will get a phone call to their cell phone. So for our female veterans, they will get a phone call at 5:30 p.m. on March 24th. And lastly, we are super excited to be doing our 9th annual baby shower. So for our veterans, that is enrolled veteran families. So this does not just mean female veterans. If we have a male veteran who's also expecting, they are 100% included. They can reach out to us to get more information. But we really love this event. It gives us a wonderful opportunity to celebrate our veteran families and for them to connect with each other. Veterans are welcome to reach out to me with any questions, which is 603-624-4366, extension 205127.
How, maybe both of you could speak to this. Is it a challenge? Excuse me, more women are leaving military service now in a greater percentage. So you have more women who can benefit from all the great services and expanded stuff, Julie, that you and your team have done there. Is this a difficult demographic to reach, or are they coming to you in pretty good numbers in terms of enrollment and getting current with the VA?
You know, we see them coming to us quite frequently. We've got lots of outreach events that we attend to try to make sure that people know we're here. And I know Laura Case and her team are just out there with tons of relationships with community partners as well in providing the healthcare. So the numbers have only increased year after year. And so we're really happy to be able to provide those services. We're right around 3,000 women veterans that we have enrolled in our healthcare system. And we've really been able to strategically plan for that. We're building our new women's clinic that should be done by the end of this calendar year, where we can provide that wraparound care all in one area of the medical facility here at Manchester. We've, like Laura mentioned, brought on a full-time gynecologist over the past year or two, and the services, she hit the ground running, and the services have just, it's almost like if you build it, they will come, right? Like the need was obviously there. So we're really happy to be able to grow those services and really provide all the health care that our women veterans need.
And do you want to elaborate? Because you run the program, and also what's the ratio roughly? I don't know the ratio currently between total veterans being seen each year between male and female veterans. Is it getting to be 50-50, or is one side greater than the other? I'm not saying you know those numbers off the top of your head, but what would you guesstimate?
Yeah. So it's something I live in every day as far as the numbers go. So the population actually matches national. So about 10% of military members are female veterans. And so that is an increase. They are the fastest growing minority population to join the military. And so I think that also correlates with why we are seeing a larger population of our female veterans as they are discharging and coming in for care. They're also doing a lot, I think, better job of educating our veterans as they are exiting the military, of getting them the information about VA. So that is helping with that transition. And then, as Julie said, getting outreach, getting out there and speaking to them has been really helpful. And so here at Manchester, that is equivalent. We are about 10% of our total population here.
All right, Julie, any other updates? We have a minute before the top of the hour. The event's coming up. Any other updates with spring around the corner? We're finally going to see temperatures in the 60s next week, believe it or not.
We are finally, hopefully finally there, right? No, our biggest update is that town hall coming up March 24th at 5:30. We're using new technology to outreach to veterans via a phone call. So we're able to, the last one we ran a few weeks back, we had thousands of people on our tele town hall. So it was a really effective way to hear from our veterans and get their voice
Awesome.
and their priorities. So thanks,
Good.
Jack.
Well, good stuff, Julie. Thank you both so much, and expand the women's care. I think it's awesome. And you got the new I think it's the new Women's Health Center when's that come online, Julie?
We expect to open the doors before the end of the year.
That's pretty
They're
cool.
doing a great job out front there. Yeah, they're doing a great job.
And veterans, if you haven't seen it, go over and see the campus. Go over and check it out, right? Thank you both very much.
Thanks, Jack.
All right, top of the hour. We'll update you on our poll question this morning up on X. It has to do with a proposed income tax in New Hampshire by an activist, not legislation as of yet, but keep an eye on all of the above. Nice weather out there today. Going to get a lot milder today, up near 50. Doesn't mean we're through some of the wintry mix stuff like yesterday and last night. A lot of fender benders and cars and unexpected because it wasn't a big storm. But yesterday afternoon, at least I saw 4 or 5 accidents and requiring police and tow trucks. And people just not slowing down. Driving like there's nothing, slippery on the road. Amazing. What a novel concept. Clean off the top of your vehicles, by the way, too. This was icy stuff. But the next few nights, a little more. But in the next week, temperatures in the 60s. Believe it or not. We'll update you on the latest. Good morning, New Hampshire, the Pulse of NH. Back in a moment.